Gacha games. Games that video companies want you to spend money on to gamble for JPEGs. If you or any of your friends dislike gacha games because of predatory practices, I wouldn't blame you. It's so obvious that most of these game companies are trying to just make a quick buck. If an acquaintance came up to me when I was playing a gacha game and asked, "Oh hey, what you playing there?" Oh god, how do I explain that I'm playing a gacha game where I'm literally depending on luck to roll for waifus and then use them in the game? Well, you see, it's a game. Mm-hmm. Oh no, how do I explain that I'm literally just collecting waifus without looking like a complete degenerate? And you can get characters. Uh-huh. And yes, nailed it. Look, I don't think I can hold my head high when talking about gacha games. You see these gacha games just putting out predatory tactics all the time. From absolutely terrible rates, massively improving character power by getting dupes, and just tempting you with deals just to take your money away. I've played multiple gachas over the years. I've played Fate Grand Order, Grand Blue Fantasy, Azure Lane, Genshin Impact, and even the recent Nikkei. But it's so good. I quit all of them within a year or two. But there was only one game that I stuck with for 3 entire years. Arknights. To me, Arknights is the very opposite of what gacha game developers want. A good pity system, events and progression that are all clearable with low rarity characters, and focus on an actual story and world building. Arknights is what I define to be an actual mobile game that happens to have gacha mechanics. Something we rarely see from video game companies that just want to make a quick buck on mobile nowadays. In this video, I want to bring back hope to mobile games and tell people that even if 90% of these gacha game companies all just want to take your money, there is still the 10%, the one game that really wants to give people a good experience while making money on the side. And hopefully, I can convince you guys to play Arknights. If you're new or have never heard of Arknights, the gameplay seems pretty simple. It's a tower defense game. You generate energy called DP in order to deploy your units, and you have to defeat enemies to defend your exits. There are at least 100 different characters to recruit, and all of these units have different roles to fill or use in a team with a maximum of 12. While the strategy seems simple at first, as you go further into the game, you get new mechanics in every new chapter and event. I repeat, there are new mechanics in every event. Literally 0 of the old mechanics are reused, and that's what makes the game so interesting. Some stages have roadblocks that block enemy pathing, some stages have lava tiles, and some stages have water that rises and falls while damaging you. Bosses all have their own unique mechanics. It's insane how creative the level designers are for Arknights, to the point that they could get a literal map trending on Twitter due to its strategic difficulty. The entire gameplay feels like it respects your time, and it's one of my favorite parts of Arknights. The game doesn't really pressure you into finishing certain chapters, and you can always go at your own pace. If you don't feel like playing the newest story chapter, no rush. You can just play on auto until you have enough free time to clear the new maps. If you only have enough time to clear the maps, that's fine too. You can just skip the story, play the maps, and then go back to the story later. It's convenient since Arknights adjusts to your schedule instead of the other way around. And speaking of story, let's talk about story and characters in Arknights. It's hard for me to explain what exactly is so good about the story in Arknights. I mean, just look at it. It's literally lines of dialogue with minimal voice acting with CG in the background. It's not like Genshin or some AAA game where we have full-on cutscenes. And yet, why does it build a world and tell a story so much better than most other games? At first, it was pretty standard gacha game material. You, the doctor, are the main center of the story, and you just start getting to know the characters and their relationships with you. We're put into a post-apocalyptic world with a deadly disease called oripathy spreading around, and countries becoming nomadic cities, with each having their own culture. But as we go further into the story, things start to go a little off course. We don't get any date events with the characters, but instead the story starts to move away from us. We no longer become the main focus. While the Doctor still plays a pivotal role, the focus is put on other characters. And we're just swept into a world where people's convictions, conspiracies, and even immortal monsters are all put into one giant melting pot. Good storytelling involves not only how well written the main character is, but also how well written the supporting characters and world are. Gacha games have been so focused on making the players feel involved with their self-insert degenerate target market that they have forgotten that there is more than one way to tell a story. And maybe that's why I can remember all the main characters from each and every event, who they fought with, who they were fighting, and what they were fighting for. And speaking of character design, it's hard to believe that this is a gacha game. We don't see the revealing type of outfits that degenerates usually want in gacha games, but instead, we get drip. Revealing outfits are few and far between, and all of the skins are basically designed to look fashionable and fit really well with the characters. I mean, just look at these skins. They even made a full-on PV and song to introduce a new set of skins. I try to buy as many skins as I can for my main characters since they just look so good. It's just so refreshing to see a game that doesn't try to grab your attention via revealing outfits and anime titties all the time. But even though gameplay and story are great, Arknights is still a gacha game at its core. But I think the Arknights gacha and progression system is also what separates it from other gacha games, and it's a big reason why I never quit. Let's talk progression. Some games like to lock endgame progression behind SSR characters, like you need to build a whole team of them in order to progress. That is not the case in Arknights. Just go to YouTube and search for low star clears, and you'll find clears for every map on Kyostin or EchoGen's channels. The beauty in Arknights is that even if you don't have specific units to clear a certain way, there are almost always substitutes you can use. SSR units are only required for the hardest of maps, but you also have the option to borrow one SSR that you need for every map, which really helps. Ask any Arknights veteran, and they'll tell you that SSRs just make life easier, but are never required to progress, and it's beautiful that they were able to design it that way. Now let's talk gacha. Gacha is usually the best way for companies to earn, and each company has their own way of monetizing it. Genshin, for example, even though it's a great game on its own, has ridiculously low SSR rates at 0.2%, but also has a pity system that guarantees an SSR after a certain number of rolls. Arknights has a standard rate of 2% for SSRs, but has a unique pity system in that the chances of an SSR increase the more rolls you do that don't give an SSR, which basically gives you a high chance of an SSR within around 60 to 70 rolls. Not the best, but the most important part is that copies, or dupes, don't really matter in Arknights. In most games, dupes give your SSRs a significant power boost, but in Arknights, the boost is so small that it might as well, and considering how many substitutes there are, you don't really have much reason to roll unless you really like the character. There's even a free roll system that gives you free characters every day, and it really helps with the progression. I've only wailed once in this game for Surtur. I swear. Probably. But I've basically filled the rest of my box with natural rolls and the cheap $5 monthly pack. Basically, there's not much pressure to roll, and it's easy to go at your own pace throughout the entire experience. Finally, let's talk about music. To be honest, I never really thought of music in gacha games. I mean, it's a gacha game. Why should music even matter? That is until my poor, ignorant self saw the free Arknights concert. I mean, what kind of video game company even holds a free online concert with full production and casting? It's insane that a video game company can release bangers for literally every event that comes out. Sure, other game companies have great music, but it's hard to compare to what Arknights can consistently put out. They've put all kinds of genres of music, from something that would come out of a Disney movie,
Close your eyes, I bet you see it. Sparks of wonders, kinds of strings.
to trendy pop,
Let us spread my wings and fly. I'll give everything.
to hard rock, and even to whatever this instrument is. And a rapping penguin?
You're better new to the boss.
It's absolutely insane, and I love Arknights for all of it. Now, whenever a new event comes out, I'm just excited for the next banger that will accompany it. And I'm just waiting for the next Arknights concert for another eargasm. To me, Arknights is more than just a gacha game now. It's a full-fledged game that is ported perfectly for mobile. It has a full progression system, beautiful design that goes beyond degenerate gacha games, and an immersive yet expanding story. And oh my god, don't even let me get started on the music. If you're looking for a new gacha game, or just willing to try out a new mobile game in your free time, Arknights is the game. Arknights is the only gacha game that lets me hold my head up high. It lets me tell people that, yeah, I love gacha games. I love Arknights. Because I know that no matter how many new degenerate gacha games with new and improved waifus come out, Arknights will always have my back. Oh, and don't forget,
You're better new to the boss.